Captain Jennifer Ross stood at the bridge of the UES Hyperion, her eyes fixed on the main screen. The massive warship floated silently in space, its dark hull reflecting the distant light of Jupiter. Her morning had started normally enough: routine patrol, standard checks, crew rotations. Then everything changed with a single message. "Captain," the young communications officer's voice cracked with urgency, "we're getting a distress signal from Europa Mining Station 6. Jennifer's hand tightened on the back of her chair. Europa was home to 500 miners and their families. "Play it," she ordered, her voice steady despite the worry in her chest. The message crackled through the bridge speakers. "This is Europa Station 6. We're under attack. Unknown vessels. They're not human. They're breaking through our—" The transmission cut off with a burst of static. "How long to reach Europa?" Jennifer asked, already moving to her captain's chair. 20 minutes at maximum speed, Captain," replied the navigation officer. "Take us in. Sound general quarters. All hands to battle stations." Red lights flashed throughout the massive ship as crew members rushed to their posts. The Hyperion's engines roared to life, pushing the warship toward Jupiter's icy moon. When they arrived, Jennifer's heart sank. The mining station's main dome was broken open to space, its structures torn apart like paper. 3 strange ships hovered nearby, their smooth purple hulls unlike anything humans had ever built. "Life signs?" Jennifer asked hopefully. "None detected in the station, Captain," replied the sensor officer. "Wait, I'm picking up something from those ships. They're not reading as human at all." Before Jennifer could respond, a bright light filled the bridge. A tall figure appeared, at least 7 feet tall, with gray-blue skin and 4 arms. It wore ornate robes covered in strange symbols. "Primitive species," the alien spoke in perfect English, its voice filled with contempt. "I am Executor Vix of the Galactic Council. This system now belongs to us. Your presence here is unauthorized." Jennifer stood, her face showing no fear. "This is humanity's home system. We have mining rights to Europa through the Earth government. You've attacked our people without provocation." The alien's 4 eyes blinked slowly. "The Council has claimed this sector. Your species' opinion is irrelevant. Your technology is primitive. Your weapons are basic. You will submit to Council rule or face elimination." "Those were innocent miners," Jennifer said, her voice hard. "They posed no threat to you." "They refused to acknowledge Council authority," Vix replied. "The consequence was regrettable but necessary. You have 24 Earth hours to inform your leaders, submit, or share their fate." The alien vanished. On the screen, the 3 ships turned and accelerated away at impossible speeds, leaving the destroyed station behind. Jennifer's first officer broke the shocked silence. "Captain, your orders?" She took a deep breath. "Contact Earth Command immediately. Search for survivors, though I doubt we'll find any. And get me everything we have on that weapons research facility in Nevada. The one they said we'd never need. Project Nemesis. But that's classified beyond our clearance," her first officer protested. Jennifer's eyes stayed fixed on the ruined station. "We're at war now. Clearance levels just changed. They think we're primitive. Fine. Let them think that. But humanity didn't survive this long by being weak." She turned to face her crew, her voice firm. "They expect us to submit in 24 hours. Instead, we're going to show them exactly how dangerous primitive humans can be. Send word to all ships in the system. Full combat alert. And get me Admiral Hayes. He needs to know we're about to make history." As her crew rushed to follow orders, Jennifer looked one last time at the destroyed station. 500 lives, snuffed out because some alien empire decided humans weren't advanced enough to have rights. Her ship might be considered primitive by their standards, but humanity had survived ice ages, plagues, and their own nuclear weapons. They'd survived because they were stubborn, creative, and absolutely refused to give up. The Galactic Council had just made their first mistake. They assumed technological superiority meant they would win. They didn't understand that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their determination to survive, no matter the odds. The Hyperion's engines hummed to life as Jennifer gave the order to set course for Earth. They had 24 hours to prepare humanity's response. It wouldn't be submission. It would be the beginning of the Council's end. Chief Engineer David Miller walked through the underground facility in Nevada, his footsteps echoing off metal walls. Behind him, Captain Jennifer Ross and Admiral Hayes followed, their faces lit by the dim emergency lights. They had less than 18 hours before the Council's deadline. "So this is Project Nemesis," Jennifer said, looking at the massive machinery around them. "The secret weapon everyone whispered about." David nodded, running his hand along a huge metal tube that stretched the length of the hall. "We built it because we were afraid. Not of aliens. We didn't know about them then. We were afraid of ourselves, of human weapons getting too advanced for our own ships to handle." They stopped at a thick glass window. Beyond it lay a testing chamber bigger than a football field. Inside, a single gun mount stood ready. "What makes this weapon so special?" Admiral Hayes asked, checking his watch nervously. David smiled. "The Council uses energy shields. Every sci-fi writer got that part right. Advanced races love their force fields. But that's exactly why this will work." He pressed a button, and the gun in the chamber hummed to life. "This isn't a laser or a plasma weapon," David explained. "It's much more primitive. We call it the mass driver. It's basically a very, very powerful gun." Jennifer frowned. "A gun against their advanced shields." "Think about it," David said. "Their shields are designed to stop energy weapons, lasers, plasma, all the fancy stuff. But this," he pointed at the gun, "this fires solid metal rounds at 30% the speed of light. Their shields aren't made to stop physical objects moving that fast." He walked to a control panel and pressed more buttons. Screens lit up around them, showing test footage. A target protected by an experimental shield similar to alien designs appeared in the chamber. The mass driver fired. The metal round passed through the shield like it wasn't even there, turning the target behind it to dust. "Their shields are useless against this," David said proudly. "Like trying to stop a bullet with a light show. Plus, the rounds are made of special metals that fragment on impact. One shot can tear apart their hull from the inside." Admiral Hayes leaned forward, suddenly very interested. "How quickly can we install these on our ships?" "The Hyperion was built with hidden mounting points," David revealed. "We can have her ready in 10 hours. Other ships will take longer, but we can arm at least 3 more before their deadline." Jennifer studied the weapon closely. "They'll never expect this. They think we're primitive, using simple weapons." "Exactly," David grinned. "Sometimes the simple solution is the best one. While they were perfecting energy weapons, we got really, really good at throwing rocks. Just very, very fast rocks." Admiral Hayes straightened up. "Get to work immediately. Captain Ross, your ship will be first. You'll lead our response when they return." As engineers swarmed into the room, David walked Jennifer through the weapon systems. "We've got 3 types of ammunition," he explained, showing her different metal rounds. Standard rounds for their smaller ships, fragmentation rounds for their bigger ones. And this, he lifted a larger round with strange markings. "This is the Planet Cracker. Use it only if you have to. It'll punch through anything, but the damage, well, let's just say you don't want to be anywhere near the target." Jennifer watched as crews began loading the massive weapons onto special trucks. "How many shots do we get?" "Each gun can fire twice per minute. We're mounting 6 on the Hyperion. Do the math." She did. 12 shots per minute. 720 per hour. More than enough to make their point. As they walked back to the surface, Jennifer looked at David. "Why didn't they tell ship captains about this project earlier?" David's face grew serious. "Because it's not just a weapon, Captain. It's a statement. Once we use this, There's no going back. We're telling the galaxy that humanity isn't just ready for space war. We're ready to win it. Jennifer thought about the destroyed mining station, about the 500 lives lost. They started this, she said quietly. We'll finish it. Above them, the Hyperion waited in orbit, ready for its upgrade. In 17 hours, the Council would return, expecting humanity's surrender. Instead, they would learn a hard lesson about underestimating primitive species. Sometimes the oldest solutions were the best ones. Sometimes, to defeat the future, you had to embrace the past. And humanity had just armed itself with the deadliest piece of primitive technology in the galaxy. High Counselor Zixtal sat on his floating throne aboard the Council's main ship, Star Dominion. His 4 arms were folded across his chest as he watched the holographic display of Earth's solar system. The blue-skinned alien leader smiled, showing his sharp teeth. Such a simple species, he said to the gathered council members. They still use chemical rockets for most of their ships. Their most advanced weapons are barely worth noticing. Council member Ariana stepped forward. Unlike the others, she looked worried. She was smaller than Zixtal, with purple skin and silver eyes. My leader, perhaps we should reconsider. The humans have shown remarkable progress in just a few centuries. Their adaptability. Silence. Zixtal's voice boomed through the chamber. You always defend the lesser species, Ariana. That's why you'll never rise higher in the council. He stood up and walked to the main window, looking out at the stars. I've conquered 12 species this year alone. Humans will be 13. A nice number. The ship's commander entered the room and bowed. High Counselor, the deadline approaches. Our fleet is ready. Zixtal nodded. Show me their response. A new hologram appeared, showing Admiral Hayes standing proud in his uniform. The human's message was short. To the Galactic Council, humanity respectfully declined your offer. This is our home. We will defend it. Laughter filled the council chamber. Only Ariana remained quiet, studying the human's face carefully. They dare to refuse us. Zixtal seemed amused. Ready the main fleet. I want this done quickly. No more warnings. In the corner, Ariana spoke up again. The reports from Europa Station show they have at least 1 large warship. The Hyperion. A primitive vessel. Another council member said. Our scans show it doesn't even have energy weapons. And that doesn't worry you? Ariana asked. A species advanced enough for space travel, but still using projectile weapons. What if? Enough. Zixtal turned to his fleet commander. Send in the first wave. Destroy their warship if it resists. Take their orbital stations. Show them what real power looks like. The Council's fleet moved into position. 500 ships, each one carrying weapons that could level cities. Their purple hulls gleamed in the starlight as they approached Earth's orbit. Look at their defense fleet, one council member laughed. Barely 30 ships. Ariana watched the screens carefully. Something wasn't right. The human ships weren't running away. They were spreading out, taking positions near their moon. The Hyperion led them, its dark hull almost invisible against space. They're going to fight. Zixtal couldn't believe it. Even their children must know they can't win. My leader, Ariana tried one last time. In all our records, humans have never surrendered their home without a fight. Never. Not even to their own kind. Maybe we should. Launch the attack, Zixtal ordered, ignoring her. Full power to forward shields. Show these primitives what they're dealing with. The Council fleet moved forward, their energy shields glowing bright purple. On the screens, the human ships still didn't move. They just waited. They're not even powering up their weapons, the fleet commander reported, confused. Zixtal smiled widely. You see, Ariana, they've realized the truth. They're going to surrender after all. A new light appeared on the tactical display. The Hyperion had fired something. The council members squinted at the screen, trying to understand what they were seeing. What kind of weapon is that? Someone asked. I don't see an energy beam. Ariana's eyes went wide as she understood. It's not an energy weapon, she whispered. It's... Before she could finish, the first council ship exploded. Then another. And another. The council members watched in shock as their mighty shields did nothing to stop whatever the humans were firing. Impossible, Zixtal shouted. Their technology is too primitive to. That's exactly why it's working, Ariana said quietly. We forgot the simplest weapons are sometimes the deadliest. As alarms began to sound through the council ship, Zixtal gripped his throne tightly. For the first time in 300 years, he felt something he'd forgotten existed. Fear. The humans weren't surrendering. They weren't running. They were hunting. Lieutenant Emma Chen stood at her tactical station on the Hyperion's bridge, watching the enemy ships chase them toward Saturn. The giant planet's rings glowed softly in the sunlight. Everything was going according to plan. They're following us, Captain, Emma reported to Jennifer Ross. All 30 of their remaining ships. They're angry after what we did to their first wave. Jennifer nodded, a small smile on her face. Angry enemies make mistakes. How's our special cargo? The mining ships are in position, hidden in the rings. They're ready. The council ships were gaining on them. Their purple hulls glowed with energy as they pushed their engines to maximum speed. They wanted revenge for the destruction of their first attack fleet near Earth. They still think we're running away, Emma said, checking her screens. They don't understand why we're heading to Saturn. Jennifer turned to her crew. Remember everyone, we only get one chance at this. The Council thinks they know everything about space warfare. Let's show them how humans fight. The Hyperion dove into Saturn's rings, ice and rocks bouncing off its strong hull. The Council ships followed, their energy shields glowing brighter as they pushed through the debris. Now, Jennifer ordered. Emma's fingers flew over her controls. Hidden in the rings, 20 human mining ships activated their equipment. But they weren't mining ice anymore. The powerful magnets and drills that usually broke up frozen rocks now had a different target. Thousands of ring particles began moving, pulled by magnetic fields. The Council ships suddenly found themselves in a storm of ice and rock, all moving at high speed. Their shields are failing, Emma reported with satisfaction. They designed them to stop energy weapons, not thousands of small impacts. They forgot that humans learned to mine asteroids before we built warships, Jennifer said. Fire the mass drivers. Aim for their weakened shields. The Hyperion turned sharply, ice particles streaming off its hull. 6 mass drivers fired together. Without their shields at full strength, the Council ships had no defense against the super-fast metal rounds. 5 enemy ships destroyed, Emma called out. They're trying to retreat, but the magnetic fields are disrupting their engines. More Council ships exploded as they tried to escape the trap. Their advanced technology wasn't designed for this kind of fight. They couldn't use their best weapons because the rings blocked their targeting systems. Their shields were failing under the constant impact of rocks and ice. This is why we chose Saturn, Jennifer explained to her crew as they watched the battle. The rings give us cover, weapons, and the perfect place for an ambush. We're using nature itself to fight. The Council ships began to panic. Some tried to shoot their way out of the rings, but their energy weapons just turned ice into steam, creating clouds that blocked their view even more. Others tried to escape up and out of the ring plane, making themselves perfect targets for the Hyperion's mass drivers. Enemy fleet is down to 12 ships, Emma reported. They're broadcasting a retreat signal. Let them run, Jennifer ordered. But first, show them what happens when they threaten Earth. The Hyperion fired one last volley. The metal rounds tore through 3 more Council ships, sending pieces of their fancy technology spinning into Saturn's rings. As the surviving Council ships fled at high speed, Emma checked the battle damage report. Hyperion took only minor damage, Captain. The mining ships are all safe. The Council lost 21 ships. Jennifer stood up from her captain's chair and looked at the beautiful rings of Saturn, now filled with pieces of destroyed Council ships. Send a message to Earth. Tell them Phase 1 is complete. The Council now knows we can fight. Phase 2 begins soon. Emma smiled as she sent the message. The Council had called humans primitive. They thought humanity would be an easy target because Earth didn't have the most advanced technology. Instead, humans had used simple physics, basic mining equipment, and their knowledge of their own solar system to defeat an enemy far more advanced than them. "Should we head back to Earth, Captain?" Emma asked. Jennifer shook her head. "Not yet. I want our sensors to record everything. Every destroyed Council ship, every piece of their technology now floating in Saturn's rings. The galaxy needs to see what happens when you underestimate humanity." The Hyperion floated silently in the rings, its dark hull covered in ice crystals. Around it floated the proof that humanity wouldn't be conquered. They had turned Saturn's rings into a graveyard for the Council's mighty ships. And this was just the beginning. Commander John Martinez stood on the bridge of a captured Council ship, studying its purple walls and glowing controls. His team had taken the ship during the Battle of Saturn's Rings, and now they were putting it to good use. The ship's original name had been in an alien language. They'd renamed it Trojan Horse. "Status report," John called out to his crew, all wearing modified spacesuits designed to fit in the alien ship's larger corridors. "We're approaching the slave world Kepler 4, his second-in-command reported. "Our disguise is working. They think we're a regular Council patrol ship." The planet below them looked like Earth, but with purple oceans. The Council had conquered its people 50 years ago. Like many other worlds, they were forced to work in mines and factories for their alien masters. "Remember the mission," John said to his team. "We're here to start a revolution, not just a fight." The Trojan Horse landed at the main spaceport. Council guards didn't look twice at them. The ship's identification codes were still valid. They didn't know humans had cracked their security during the Saturn battle. John led his team into the alien city. They wore captured Council armor, modified to fit human bodies. In their bags, they carried Earth's greatest new weapon, information. "Look at the workers," one of his team members whispered. The local people, tall, thin beings with gray skin, moved slowly through the streets, their heads down. Council guards watched from every corner. They reached their first target, a public communication center. While two team members kept watch, John connected a small device to the main computer. "Uploading now," he said quietly. "Sending them everything. Videos of the Saturn battle, specs for our mass drivers, details about Council ship weaknesses." "Sir." One of his guards pointed at the street. A Council patrol was heading their way. John smiled. "Right on time. Keep working." The patrol reached them. The lead guard raised his weapon. "Identify yourselves." John turned slowly, showing his stolen Council uniform. Then he pressed a button on his belt. Every screen in the communication center suddenly lit up. Videos began playing. Council ships exploding in Saturn's rings, the Hyperion's mass drivers tearing through their best shields, Earth's fleet standing proud against alien invaders. The local people stopped and stared. Even the Council guards watched, shocked by the sight of their invincible ships being destroyed. "People of Kepler 4, John's voice boomed through the city speakers. "The Council is not unbeatable. Humanity has proved that. We bring you the tools to fight back." From hidden places all around the city, more human agents launched similar broadcasts. They released plans for simple weapons that could defeat Council technology. They showed how Saturn's rings had become a graveyard for Council ships. The Council guards raised their weapons, but it was too late. The local people were already moving. Years of anger exploded at once. They rushed the guards, their fear replaced by hope. Phase 1 complete, John reported through his secure radio. Moving to Phase 2. His team spread through the city, distributing more information and small weapons they'd brought. The revolution spread like fire. By sunset, the Council's government building was surrounded by angry citizens. "Commander," one of his team called out, We're picking up similar reports from 3 other worlds. The news is spreading faster than the Council can stop it. John watched from a rooftop as the Council's flag came down from the government building. The people of Kepler-4 raised their old flag, not seen in 50 years. "Send word to the Hyperion," he ordered. "Operation Wildfire is working. The Council's empire is starting to burn." His communication officer smiled as she sent the message. "Sir, incoming transmission from the planet's new leaders. They're asking for Earth's help to defend their freedom." John looked at the sunset turning the purple ocean red. The Council had spent centuries building their empire on fear and advanced technology. They never expected their empire would be destroyed not by weapons, but by hope. "Tell them Earth stands ready to help," he said, "and tell them to spread the word. The galaxy is changing. The Council's chains are breaking, one world at a time." Above the city, more screens showed Council ships exploding in Saturn's rings. The people cheered each explosion. They weren't just celebrating the Council's defeat, they were celebrating their own courage to fight back. The revolution had begun, and it was spreading across the stars. Security Officer Lisa Wright sat in the Hyperion's communication center, surrounded by screens filled with messages from across the galaxy. Her eyes were tired, but she couldn't stop reading. Every message told the same story. Freedom was winning. Another one. She called out to Captain Jennifer Ross, who stood nearby. "The water world Aquarius 7 has overthrown their Council governors. They're asking for Earth's help." Jennifer looked at the main screen showing a map of the Council's empire. Red dots marked worlds in rebellion. Green dots showed freed planets. Purple showed worlds still under Council control. The purple dots were getting fewer every day. "How many worlds have broken free now?" Jennifer asked. 32 as of this morning," Lisa replied. "And look at this. We're getting messages from inside Council space itself. Their own citizen worlds are starting to question things." The door opened and Commander John Martinez walked in, back from his successful mission to Kepler-4. "The Council never expected this," he said. "They thought if they lost some battles, they'd only lose territory. Instead, they're losing hearts and minds." Lisa pointed to a new message flashing on her screen. "This is interesting. It's from Council member Ariana. She says more Council leaders are starting to doubt High Councilor Zixtal's leadership." Jennifer smiled. "The mighty Council is splitting apart. They spent so much time watching for attacks from outside, they didn't watch for rebellion from within." Alarms suddenly blared through the ship. Lisa's screens filled with urgent messages. Multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. It's the Council's home fleet. The massive viewing window showed space light up as 50 Council ships appeared. But something was different about these ships. Some had different colors painted on their hulls. The colors of rebel worlds. "Incoming transmission," Lisa reported. It's from Council member Ariana." Ariana's familiar purple-skinned face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined. "Captain Ross, I speak for the Reformed Council Alliance. We have removed High Councilor Zixtal from power. Many Council worlds stand with us now. We request Earth's help to end this conflict." The bridge crew looked at Jennifer. This was a historic moment. The Council admitting they needed humanity's help. "What kind of help do you need?" Jennifer asked carefully. "Your weapons proved superior to ours," Ariana admitted. "But more importantly, your ideas about freedom and self-rule have spread faster than any fleet could travel. We need Earth's help to build a new system, one where all species have equal voices." Lisa checked her sensors. "Captain, on confirming their ships have powered down weapons. This looks genuine." Jennifer thought for a moment. "Where is Zixtal now?" "He fled to his last stronghold with his loyal ships," Ariana replied. "He controls only 20 worlds now, but they include some of our strongest military bases. We need your help to end his reign without destroying more worlds." John stepped forward. "We could use the same strategy we used on Kepler-4. Not just attack with ships, but spread the truth to his worlds." Lisa nodded excitedly. "Yes, Look at these messages. Even on his 20 worlds, people are ready to rise up. They just need hope and proof they can win. Jennifer made her decision. Ariana, humanity accepts your request, but we have conditions. All worlds must be free to choose their own path. The new system must protect the rights of all species, not just the powerful ones. Agreed, Ariana said quickly. We've learned our lesson about believing some species are superior to others. Will you help us plan the final attack? Better than that, Jennifer smiled. We'll lead it. The Hyperion has become a symbol across the galaxy. A symbol that even the most powerful empire can fall if it stops listening to its people. Lisa's screens lit up with more messages as the news spread. Ships from dozens of freed worlds were jumping in, ready to join the final battle. The Council's mighty empire, built over centuries, had crumbled in months, not just from Earth's weapons, but from the power of hope. Send word to all ships, Jennifer ordered. The final phase begins. We end the old Council's reign, not with just force, but with truth and justice. As Lisa sent the message, she looked at her screens one last time. The purple dots showing Council control were now surrounded by a sea of green and red, worlds either free or fighting for freedom. The revolution wasn't just spreading anymore. It was about to win. 6 months after the revolution began, Captain Jennifer Ross stood in the Great Hall of the new Galactic Assembly. The room was massive, with tall windows showing the stars outside. Representatives from over 200 worlds sat in circular rows, each species different from the last. Where once only Council members could speak, now all voices were heard. Former High Counselor Zixtel's capture had been surprisingly simple in the end. His own guards had turned him over after seeing videos of freed worlds prospering. He now waited in custody, facing trial for his crimes against multiple species. The floor recognizes Captain Jennifer Ross of Earth, called out Ariana, now serving as the temporary head of the assembly. Like everything else, even her title would be voted on by all members. Jennifer walked to the center of the hall. The Hyperion's crew watched proudly from their seats. Security Officer Lisa Wright, Commander John Martinez, Lieutenant Emma Chen, and Chief Engineer David Miller. They had all played their parts in changing the galaxy. 6 months ago, Jennifer began. Humanity was unknown to most of you. The Council called us primitive because we used simple weapons and didn't have the most advanced technology. They thought this made us weak. She paused, looking around the room. But strength doesn't come from having the fanciest weapons. It comes from working together, from respecting each other, and from standing up for what's right. The hall was silent, everyone listening carefully. Many of them had fought alongside the Hyperion in those final battles. Today, I'm here to announce that Earth doesn't want to rule an empire. We don't want to be the new Council. Instead, we want to be part of this assembly. Equal members working with all of you to build something better. Cheers broke out across the hall. Several representatives stood up, applauding. They had feared Earth might try to take the Council's place as rulers of the galaxy. The Hyperion will be turned into a museum, Jennifer continued. Not to celebrate war, but to remind us that freedom is worth fighting for. Its mass drivers will never fire again. Instead, we're sharing our technology, our ideas, and our friendship with all peaceful worlds. David Miller stood up next. Earth's scientists are already working with other worlds, combining our different technologies. Together, we're building ships that are faster and safer than anything the old Council had. Lisa Wright joined him. And our communication systems are being upgraded so all worlds can talk freely. No more secrets, no more hidden empires. Everyone will have a voice. John Martinez added his own news. The former slave worlds are rebuilding with help from everyone. Where the Council forced them to mine resources, now they're building schools and hospitals. Emma Chen completed the report. And our combined fleets are patrolling together, not to control, but to protect. Any world that asks for help will receive it. Jennifer raised her hand, and the room grew quiet again. We learned something important during this revolution. The council fell not because our weapons were stronger, but because their own people stopped believing in their lies. They fell because freedom and truth are more powerful than any weapon. Ariana stood and walked to join Jennifer. The assembly calls for a vote. All those in favor of Earth joining as a full member, with the same rights and responsibilities as all worlds, raise your hands or equivalent appendages. The vote was unanimous. Every representative voted yes. Then let it be recorded, Ariana announced. Earth is now a member of the Free Galactic Assembly. The age of empires is over. The age of cooperation begins. As celebrations broke out across the hall, Jennifer looked at her crew. They had started this journey facing destruction at the hands of an alien empire. They had fought not just with weapons, but with hope and truth. Now they were part of something greater than any empire, a true union of free worlds. The Hyperion would soon rest in its museum, its mission complete, but its legacy would live on. It had shown the galaxy that being primitive didn't mean being weak, that sometimes the simplest solutions were the best ones, that no empire, no matter how powerful, could stand against people united in the cause of freedom. Outside the great windows of the assembly hall, ships from 100 worlds floated peacefully together. Their different shapes and sizes didn't matter anymore. They were all part of the same family now. The Council's empire was gone. A new age had begun.